What's up, everybody? This is Jay, and this is the Power Book 3 Raising Kanan Episode 1 Back in the Day recap. Now, this is the new spinoff, Book 3 for the Power Universe, Raising Kanan. Episode 1, we start to see what made Kanan Stark who he was. We already know how his life ended, and we see how it began. This is narrated by 50 Cent, and I really enjoyed the episode and like how it kicked off. The nostalgia's real. I'm going to break it down. Subscribe if you're new, and don't forget to bang that bell. Let's get into it. Now, the episode starts off in 85, and they got the music. They bumping LL Cool J, radio. He coming in with the box. We see a couple kids in the park with the Kango, and next thing you know, they over here celebrating on whooping Kanan fat little butt when he was a kid, and Jukebox is trying to help, and they holding her back. He done got whooped, knocked to the ground, bloody lip looking like a vampire, ran his ass home because he done got beat down and his money took. Meanwhile, we introduced to his mom bagging up dope with this dude named Hoppo. She goes up to check on him because he done got beat, and he's crying saying they too big, they took his money. She said, come on, we going back to the park, while she done took some D batteries and put them in the sock. She pull up in the Toyota Supra, classic ride. She give him she say, come on, you gonna handle this. You can't run from me, so it's either you gonna handle them or you gonna get handled by me. So he walk up, they spot him, and they like, you want some more? Next thing you know, he clocks old boy in the mouth with the batteries. D, like Radio Raheem, locked him out while she's smoking on a cool menthol, chilling, enjoying her son whooping ass. And he said that's the first time his name ever rang out, and it's been ringing ever since. Fast forward to 91, we hear Phife Dawg and Tribe Called Quest. We see that he's in the principal's office, and she's telling about how smart he is and trying to get him in a new school. He don't want to go, and his mama said, look, you got a chance to be a lawyer, a CEO, or something like that. This right here, all I like is this astronomy stuff. You could do much more. Meanwhile, we introduced the Jukebox singing. He in the back of the class enjoying her voice. It introduced to his first crush, Davina. He said he been having his eye on her forever, and he can't even talk right when she around. We see his little crew, his boy Famous rapping over here. They called him Puerto Rican Famous because he was a poet. He had little rhyme skills with his boy D Wiz. And we see his girl Davina is with this dude named Buck 20. He got the 8-ball jacket. And we see Kanan lightweight jealous because he with the girl he want, Davina. And Jukebox say, how long you gonna be trying to get her? He said, I ain't gonna never give up. She said, she been playing you for how long? He said, first grade. Meanwhile, we introduced to Rock and her brothers, Marvin and Lulu. And they got one of their members of the crew shot, and she trying to figure out what happened, why she didn't know people was moving in on the turf. We find out Marvin loved to eat, and he never missed an opportunity to miss an opportunity. Meanwhile, we see Kanan hanging with his crew at the arcade when he peeped game that this one dude, the other rival dope dealer, Unique, pull up in the Bulletproof 7 Series. He G'd up, gold chain, and then he realized that Unique done put Buck 20 on. So he lightweight jealous of Buck 20 because now he getting money too. Meanwhile, we see that his mom's is going to a club that looks pretty similar to Truth, and when she gets there, she's trying to get some of the problems solved about what was going on, and she learned while she was in the hospital. And it's this young white girl promoter saying that they dope is nasty and stepped on, and they going with somebody else, and they going back and forth calling each other's bitches and mad. And she got a little dog there, and so Bella and so Lulu say, let me handle it. So she go to the bar to have a drink, when all of a sudden we see this pretty boy Floyd looking dude calling himself Symphony of the Night, and he's like, yeah, I'm in city planning. She said, I'm in the city and I like plans, so it looked like they may get something together. Meanwhile, we see they hang at Lamont's diner. I didn't know Lamont had a diner. Anyway, they all there, having fun, eating as a family. And then all of a sudden we see Famous pull up, and he got his sister. Marvin try to holler but get played, and she sit with Lulu. And while they done eating outside talking, they breaking down the business and code with supreme mathematics, and Kanan over here ear hustling. he started doing that at an early age while Lulu over there trying to hustle on some booty. And then he go and sit with Jukebox and Famous say he don't want his sister talking to his uncles, and next thing you know, these dudes roll up popping shots in the air. Everybody duck for cover, but then we see Kanan see that it was $120 busting them shots in the air. And when we see Jessica get up, she tell Lulu, that was the bravest thing someone has ever done for me. And he said, oh, well, you've been with the wrong dudes. So back home, Kanan is trying to tell his mama he want to get in the business. He know what's up. He heard what they was breaking down. He like, man, I know the code. I know that supreme mathematics. Let me in. And she say, you don't need to get in the game. You don't know what you're talking about. And he's saying, hey, I'm here to got your back. Ain't nobody gonna have your back like me. It's me and you against the world, basically. And she trying to keep him out of it, want him to go to school. He don't want to go to school and take the test. While he was walking to school the next day, Famous saying he was scared, but then he said, if I was you, I wouldn't go to school all the way out there. I'd have failed that test on purpose, which then gave Kanan an idea. So we see later that Rock goes to meet up with Unique to discuss business, and he was saying, hey, look, we wasn't trying to hurt nobody. They was just trying to get your attention to motivate this meeting right here. And he said, look, we got to discuss these corners. Post and me, and they had a deal. And she like, well, Post deals ain't my deals. He said, look, we need to make a deal about these blocks. So they end up splitting the blocks, and she gave up a block, got a block. Meanwhile, we see that little mama over here from the club is riding that dangalang like dangalang jangalang up in this piece, but she's smelling something funky, and it wasn't no Badussy. So she get up and she's like, Bella, are you okay? Did you make a poopy? Bella. And so when she's looking for the little poopy, she didn't realize that when she got into the microwave, it was puppy chow, a hot dog, and that hot dog then bust open. And old girl was about to lose her mind, seeing that her little puppy poopy then got overcooked like a meal from Smokies and on the Shy. So meanwhile, we see Kanan is at the damn test, and all he doing is marking B's, and he's throwing the test on purpose so he can stay close in the hood to his mama. We see Rock is the one, of course, that engineered the puppy chow on the menu, and old boy gave Bella the collar to her and said, hey, well done. And so she like, okay, that's what's up. Meanwhile, Jukebox is rocking the polo, and she on the other side of town in New York, and she walk across these three white girls, and they thought she was lost. But then we see the one girl come up to her, and she like, oh no, this is my friend. We met a week ago at this little function, so we gonna go and work on this little play music. Meanwhile, we see that Marvin is talking with Rock, and he's saying stuff about updates in the business. And then he said, yeah, we back at the club. Hugo said it's good. And he also said that a dog got, in the microwave. She said, what dog? Meanwhile, we see that Jukebox is getting real cozy with her friend Burke, and they talking about different things. And then it looked like Burke tried to kiss her, but Jukebox pulled back, and she like, it's okay, I understand. You're shivering. And she was just, Jukebox want to be with her, but she ain't really sure of herself yet. Meanwhile, we see that Buck 20 and his crew is on the block that his mama used to have serving. Kanan see it, and he see it's disrespectful because one of his boys, D-Wiz, told him that they was on his mama block. So they didn't put the plan together, got the straps. He then brought out a gun, a revolver, and he got another hammer ready to nail somebody. And so he tell the rest of the crew, wait. Him and D-Wiz come around the block, and Buck 20 asked him, what's up, man? What you need? What you want, Kanan? And then he just opened fire, both of them, D-Wiz and him. And 50 Cent is narrating, saying, you never forget the first person you ever pulled a gun on and shot. And so he come over to him because he heard he was trying to say something, and he never got a word out, but he did grab his shirt and try to say something. And Kanan was kind of froze for a minute until his boys told him, come on, let's go, we gotta go. And so then he got up and broke out and ran. He was 100 miles and running. Meanwhile, we see that Rock is having dinner with old Symphony of the Night, Beethoven, and he's trying to, talk to her about city planning, and she's liking to talk to somebody different. He said, I know I'm not the usual guy you may date. And she say, well, I got an unusual business. Some people can't handle it. And so he said, if it ain't a problem for you, it ain't a problem for me. And that was cool until Lulu walked up and told her, hey, Kanan. And that's all he needed to say. She got up, dropped a couple bills on the table, said, hey, I appreciate you. Now we see everybody at the house having a family meeting, and she's saying, why did you do that? And he said, man, they disrespected you. I got your back. They trying to take your corners and serve, and that ain't gonna fly. And she said, I already gave them corners. You killed that boy for nothing, for corners I gave him. And he's like, well, why would you do that? And of course, Marvin putting his foot in the mouth saying, I know, right? And she told him to shut up and that she run things. And so she asserted her authority. And then he asked Jukebox, his daughter, where you been? And she said she was at the choir practice. He said, choir practice? Choir? You was singing? We talking about practice, not a game, practice. And so she was quiet. Rock tell Kanan to go upstairs to his room. And he said, I'm grown. I ain't going up there no more. And she said, boy, you better check yourself. And he said, look, I got your back. If you would have wanted me out the game, you would have sent me to grandma's. And so he eventually go up. She downstairs later smoking the square, trying to get her mind right. And he come downstairs. And so they done already told him to burn the sweater and take it off. And he wanted to talk to her. She said, right now ain't even the time. Matter of fact, go take that trash out. And I think you're right. Maybe I should take you to your grandma's house. Because he was telling her that's what she should have did if she ain't want him in the game. So I guess for punishment, he go take out the garbage right on the same day that he tried to murder somebody. And we see from the perspective that somebody was waiting and watching. And sure enough, we see a car pull up and they got Uzis, automatic weapons, and they light this car up trying to kill him. She run out with the quickness, though, surgical with the iron, and she busting shots and even hit a couple shots on the car as they went by. She checked Kanan. He's all good. Luckily, he ain't get Swiss cheesed up, and those cars ain't made of fiberglass like today, because that car was made of steel, and it was luckily able to save his ass. And so we see the cops there, and then we get introduced to Detective Howard, aka Omar Epps, and he comes in and he's like, okay, what's up? Look like old boy, your nuts done dropped, huh? He said, okay, streets is talking, say it's a bounty on your head. And she's telling him that's the wrong house. It was a mistake. And he said, that's the story you sticking with? And she said, yeah, that's the story I'm sticking with. And so he was about to ask Kanan some questions, and she said, my son ain't got nothing to say to you. And so on the side, they was talking, and he said, maybe it's time for you to get out while you can. And so she ain't trying to hear it right now. And we see Kanan narrating, saying this cop always thought he ran shit like he was the biggest gangster in the hood, and it ain't always like that. Meanwhile, we introduced to this new white cop, and she say she found some shell casings, and he said, look at you trying to be old super sleuth, but I guarantee you that gun is already at the bottom of the ocean. Meanwhile, we see Kanan talking with Jukebox, and he say, where were you earlier? And she smiled. He said, you was with the white girl, wasn't you? And meanwhile, we see his mom's talking with the brothers, and they said, look, they coming for him now, and ain't no school with no escalators gonna save him. And he said, yeah, so, we gonna have to do something because he in trouble. And so that got her thinking real hard that maybe it's too late. Maybe she need to indoctrinate him. But before she do, she has a meeting with Unique. And so while she's having the meeting with Unique, she hands him a big Mississippi knot full of cash, and he's like, man, this is cool, but you think this money is gonna be good enough for what happened with $120? I mean, we in a position right now that if I don't do something, then people gonna be asking questions, type of questions people in our position don't want to have to answer. And she said, yeah, but y'all violated. Y'all came after Kanan at my house. He said, yeah, and we gonna keep coming, Rock. We gonna keep coming until I feel that either we don't need to come no more or we reach some type of agreement. He said, all them corners is mine now. All of them. I got to bring something back to my people, or else, we going to have to keep coming for you. And she said, hey, look, like, Post said, never get on your knees because you can't get back on your feet. And he said, I'm watching. And he said, hey, look, we need to do what we need to do. She's telling him Kanan ain't in it. And he said, that's where you got a problem. Kanan been in it, Rock. Kanan is DEFCON and yours kid. He was in it before he was even in it. And you know, she said, but you love your son the way I do. He said, yeah, I love Jerome, but he ain't come from me. You got a different bond. That's always going to be against you. That's why this is a man's game. And so she get a little salty because now her son in danger. Kanan done put her business in danger and put himself in danger. And it didn't made a weakness within her and her organization. So later that night, we see she at home. This dude sleep like a little baby in his little bed with his little stars and moons on the wall and stuff. And so she wake him up and take him to this lakefront, and she thought that they was about to go to grandma's house. And she said, look, how you do on that test? Tell the truth. He said, I got a lot of answers in the B column. I might be all right. She said, you threw the test. Why you do that? You see these stars up here? That right there is Orion. That's the hunter. That's us, Kanan. Always the hunter, never the hunted. You want to be in the game? You're going to have to be in the game now. You want to be in it? And so she take out a gun and give him a gun. She said, they coming for you. You need to take care of yourself. And she passed him the gun and show him how to hold it and tell him, you know, use two hands, strong hand on top. And she tell him, go ahead, bust a shot. And so he busts a shot. And she say, all right, you in it. That bullet out there got your name on it. You're going to be running from it for your life. You got to make sure that you always on top of everything. Watch your back. You know, we going to have to make sure that we, you know, take care of each other. And so they both start shooting, practicing. And as she taking it a little serious, we see he starting to really like it. And while he busting them shots, he got a big old smile like he really liking this shit. And he really want to be a killer. So we'll see what happens. Now it's time for real talk. Now, I really enjoyed this first episode of Book 3, Power, Raising Kanan. It had a lot of the first original Power feel. I enjoyed how they developed the characters and the pace of the show. It could have had a little bit more development when he was a kid in '85, but for the most part, it was pretty good. I like how, you know, it was the same type of throwback feel with moms telling him to go back out there and fight, unlike people today and all the anti-bullying stuff. She was teaching him how to stand up for himself. I like all the authenticity and all the cars, the clothes, the music, everything. It was on point, and I really enjoyed seeing the characters from Unique and, you know, his friends Famous and how everybody dressed was dope. It was interesting to see the dynamic of the family with the brothers and everything was pretty cool, and I'm really excited about this series, and I enjoyed it much more than Power Book 2, and I think that this is going to be a really good series. I think Kanan, we see he's been making quick, rash decisions since he was young. He put his mama in a bad situation by making her lose their corners, lose money, putting her in a precarious situation where now she got to not only worry about herself and the business, but now she knows people are coming for her son. And now that's always going to be a weak spot for a mother, because of course mothers love their kids. Not to say a son is not loved by a father, but mothers have a different way of bonding with their boys. And I'm interested to see the development in this story, as well as with the brothers, and how did Jukebox become the killer that she was. I mean, he said when she was singing that she ain't no punk, so we'll see what's up with that. And also, what's up with his boy D-Wiz and Famous, and it's just gonna be a pretty dope show. I really enjoyed the episode. I gave it an 8. I enjoyed how they turned that little Bow Wow and the puppy child, and that hot dog was served up nice and hot, and I'm wondering how all of this stuff is gonna tie into the rest of the season. I think it's gonna be dope, and I really enjoyed it. I want to know what y'all think in the comments. Let me know, and I'll see y'all on the next episode. Don't forget to subscribe, bang that bell, hit the likes, and I'm out of here. Peace.
Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please hit that like, subscribe, bang that bell, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.